Michael, you've just come from your press conference. You've been very positive about Ireland West Airport in Knock 40 years on. Did you envisage, if you were to look ahead 40 years hence to now, that we would be standing in such an amazing infrastructure for the west of Ireland?
No, I mean, I don't think anybody did. I think probably Monsignor Horan was the only one who thought this would, over the long term, be a success. There were many sceptics back in the day when Knock was opened in 1986. I thought, people generally thought if it had 100,000 passengers a year, it would be lucky. We certainly were very close. We worked with Cathal Duffy over many years when he was chairman. Joe and his team have taken over in the last 20 years, and Knock has grown from success to success, to such an extent that this summer Ryanair will operate 17 routes to Knock. We're bringing visitors into the west of Ireland from 8 cities in the UK, 9 cities in Europe. And it is, this year I think Knock will for the first time reach 1 million passengers. It's one of the great success stories of Irish tourism.
There's an appetite from the general public in the west of Ireland to try and see more flights, if possible. I suppose that's easier said than done.
Yeah, I mean, there's a real challenge for Knock. The government have a regional airport support programme, but it kind of caps out or tapers off once you get over 1 million passengers. So we've been calling on the government, particularly from regional development perspective, to raise that cap from 1 to 2 million passengers. It would give airports like Knock and Kerry, who are delivering real value for their communities, the opportunity and the wherewithal to grow from 1 million to 2 million passengers a year. And at 2 million passengers a year, the airport would be largely self-sustaining.
Where do you see Knock in 10 years from now?
I would hope in 10 years' time, and I'd be very excited. I think there's a real prospect in 10 years' time that Knock could be delivering about 2 million passengers a year. We would certainly be identifying Knock as a possible new base for Ryanair. Could we base an aircraft or two here, which would give you early morning flights out of here in the morning, late arriving flights back in the evening? But that poses real challenges for the airport. Like, you've now got a much longer working day. You've 2 shifts, so there are real challenges there. But I think that's what we should all be aiming for. Knock is a great success. It's a beacon of low-cost access here in the west of Ireland, and it stands on its own 2 feet, run by local people, and very much for the benefits of the local community and the wider economic region here in the west of Ireland.
You're a driving force and you're always more positive than negative, but when you hear passengers complain about things like baggage size and so on, does that annoy you?
No, I mean, I think we carry 200 million passengers a year, Tommy. So you have to take that. I mean, in some cases, the complaints are valid. We don't always get it right. We do sometimes make mistakes. I mean, we are trying to change customer behaviour in ways. So we're gradually reducing the size of carry-on bag, checked-in bags, 25-minute turnarounds. But everything is done with a view towards making us more efficient so that we can pass on lower fares to our customers. Because the only way we can grow from 200 million to 300 million passengers in the next decade is to keep those airfares not just where they are today, but reduce them further. And for that, we need help with passengers, but everybody's entitled to complain.
Do you need to keep growing Ryanair? I mean, you're registering record profits. I mean, are you at the top of your game now?
I don't think so. I mean, we've ordered another 300 aircraft, Tommy. So with those aircraft, and these are new, more environmentally quieter, they burn less fuel, they carry more passengers. That enables us to grow to 300 million passengers, we think, in the next decade. There's lots of countries in Eastern Europe. I mean, we're growing very rapidly this year in places like Albania and Morocco, southern Italy, and in the west of Ireland. And we want to keep that growth going. I don't think you can ever stop. We have to keep growing. We clearly won't be able to grow as fast in the next 10 years as we have in the last 30 or 40 years. But by continuing to grow, by continuing to open up new routes, we create more opportunities for airports like Knock Airport to reach profitability and to become self-sustaining.
2 final questions. One is, you emanate a lot of energy. Do you think you have the energy to sustain the top job in Ryanair for another 10 years?
I mean, I would certainly, I'm signed up, I think, for about another 5 years. 10 years might be a bit far away, but we have very good people in Ryanair, all of whom have grown up through the airline. So, if I got tragically run over by a bus today,
or an aeroplane,
or a Roscommon supporter, there are good people there running Ryanair on a daily basis. So I'm not necessary for the next 10 years, but I mean, I think I still regard myself as being reasonably young, and I see no reason I would. Tony Ryan used to say it was better to wear away than to rust away. So I have no desire to retire. I want to keep working. It may not be in Ryanair, it may be somewhere else, but we are on the cusp of very exciting times, and we have a terrific team of management in Ryanair.
And finally, in the press conference just a few moments ago, you alluded to Monsignor Horan as being one of the most iconic figures in Irish history. If he was here today, what would you say to him?
Well, I think you'd say congratulations. Everybody thought you were mad back in 1986. I mean, and as I said today, I would put him up on a pedestal with the likes of Tony Ryan. I mean, I thought Tony Ryan was mad in 1986 when he set up Ryanair. I told him it was never going to survive and he should shut it down. But you occasionally in your life come across visionaries like Tony Ryan, like Monsignor Horan. And I think the Knock Airport and the continued growth and success of Knock Airport is a tribute to the vision of Monsignor Horan.
Well, look, you're the lifeblood of this airport. Everybody knows that. So thank you on behalf, I think, of everybody in the west of Ireland for giving us this service.
And thank you to you and all the listeners in Midwest Radio. You too are one of the great successes here in the west of Ireland. Keep up the good work. And I hope that Ryanair and Knock Airport, combined with Midwest Radio, will continue to thrive and grow for the next decade as well.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Tommy. Good to meet you.